werde schon finden. Yeah, it's very funny. It's also very interesting for me. It's always funny to see the videos because I always I know how it was being in the situation. So I mean I noticed very often when the microphone fall down, then I had to laugh about myself like, oh, again, you know, like it was so hard to keep the microphone up. And sometimes I wanted to say something, but it was like, oh well, and I was like, okay, maybe I say very quick before I start to not talk anymore. So then again it didn't come out correctly, and maybe you saw this part. I mean, for the people who understand German, like where I was saying, hey, it's a nice table. It's a nice table. It's a nice table. I was dreaming something. There was no table, so it's also very funny in the videos, like when I was falling asleep and then I was seeing some things which didn't exist, or in the conversation that we had, like I was just like a few seconds like this, getting up again. I was like, oh, with whom did you talk on the phone? She was like, no, I didn't talk on the phone. No, but you just talked with someone on the phone. No, I didn't talk with someone. Do you mean before? Or because I was like, in this 2 seconds, I was dreaming something that she was talking on the phone with someone. So it's, it was very interesting. For me, it was very interesting also with the dreaming part and the conscious shifts. And also, you know, when this woman with the black hair, she was sitting next to me and said, oh, you're not there, because in that situation I had the feeling that I'm sitting upright, completely normal, and she's bugging me that I'm not there, you know. But when I saw the video, I was like, oh no, I was not really up, I was kind of asleep. So it's also very interesting, this noticing what's happening around you even while you may be half asleep. So again, to this symptom, it's like, I mean, normally it doesn't last so long, but if you are in it, and especially if you're alone during the adaptation, it's super, you have the feeling it's stretching out so long. You really, when you're like, oh, when does it end, when does it end, it's like, you see every second on the clock. And I also had, when I was doing the adaptation alone, I was like, I mean, normally you notice it when your eyes are going down and your head is doing this movement. And one time I was kind of watching the clock, and I hope that it goes by fast. And I just nod one time with the head, and 1 hour was over. So I was like, what? You know, it was like I was sleeping 1 hour with the head like this. So I think for me it was kind of impossible to do the adaptation alone. So yeah, of course you should not do car driving when you're doing that. I have a friend who made a car accident while he was adapting in Mexico. And so it's better to in this maybe in the first week at least, or in 2 weeks, to take care about not to use a car or have friends who are driving for you, or to take off from work. So there are also the signs before, like that your eyelids are going down, or it's difficult to move. So that's already a sign when you should maybe move yourself. And always to keep in mind that it's only the adaptation time where it's so difficult. After, it's not a problem anymore. So it's really like you have to convince yourself, okay, now it's starting, the battle is starting, get up, move, and go running, do yoga. So for me, really, yoga helped me a lot, or running, or jumping rope, or so. I also had I was always drinking my apple juices. Like I had like half a liter always, and also one time was like so like the microphone it makes one time like, and I was completely with apple juice. That helped me to stay awake also. So this is the good part on the adaptation. You're happy for everything what makes you move. Like I really always enjoyed to clean my apple juice machine, or to do apple juice, or to do orange juice. So I was always like, oh, I'm getting tired, okay, let's make some orange juice, yeah, so what I wanted to tell before, like for me, the really hard part, the day 3 and 4, that was really an interesting experience. Like I think after the 4 o'clock nap, I I had very big problems to stay awake. So normally we always took a walk outside in the fresh air and the cold outside, and after 20-30 minutes going back was no problem, and we could go on like this. And we could go on with the normal stuff. So, but on the third and the fourth day, it was like after the normal walk, I came home and it was like before, and I know, okay, damn, I have to go on, and I was really falling asleep while walking all the time after. So I was kind of running into some trees or bushes, everything which is on the road. I was really thinking about to give up, like, oh, maybe I just lay on the floor, no one will notice. And so I was at Potsdamer Platz at 5 o'clock, and I realized I need to jump because walking was not possible anymore. So we were jumping together on Potsdamer Platz at 5 o'clock, 1 hour. So then I noticed also the jumping, I still had the feeling it was so difficult when I was on the floor. So we started to run, and we ran around the Brandenburger Tor, and it was maybe like 5:30, 6 o'clock. So it really was, for me it was very tough, and I was like, okay, it has to go on until my 8 o'clock nap, you know, like 2 hours to go more. And then we walked back, and whenever I got tired we were running again, so it was always like, okay, walking, running, walking, running. So it was like 4 hours workout. There was 2 days, and very interesting, yeah, conscious shifts. So, especially if you are alone, or also if you have people who help you, it's good to have a kind of backup list. Like on one hand you have the big fat list on what you want to accomplish in that time, but the backup list is more how to stay awake. So it's like when you feel like, oh no, the battle is going to start, my body wants to shut me down. So there are some things that you can do. Like, it's really interesting. To have ice cubes was very helping me. At the time I always was freezing grapes, so it's like a nice snack. It's like normally your body doesn't go into REM if it's too cold, so that's why it's helping to stay awake. The shuffle, it's a kind of exercise where you're kind of activating different muscles. So especially if you just need to stay awake 10 minutes more before your nap, it's good to use your muscles to how do you say, anspannen?
Relax.
Huh?
Relax.
No, anspannen.
Contract.
Contract. Yeah, like contract this one, then this one, then this one, then this one. So this is the shuffle. Sexual active, yeah. I mean any kind of being active is good to stay awake. Sexual also. Sing, recite poetry. I always put there and film it, you know. It's always funny to have later videos on this very hard time. It's like nice memories. Clean and dust every corner of the room. I mean, cleaning in general, it's cool. You stay awake and you have to clean flat after. Talk to yourself. I mean, if you don't have anyone with you, talk to plants and things. I mean, talking in general. For me, it was always difficult if I have my a nap and someone was calling me before my nap, and I knew if I would talk with a person, it will wake me up again. It will make me, and after I will have problems to fall asleep again. So I think talking always helps to stay awake. I also enjoyed to look dance videos or funny cat movies. So when I was laughing, I realized when I was laughing a lot, it was more easy to stay awake. So I was searching a lot of funny movies. Bumped yourself against the wall. I didn't do that. Pure Doxy, she was doing that. Like she said, okay, whenever I fall asleep, I was falling against the wall and that waked me up. Scream out how you feel. Another person, he was doing it, carry plates around the house. So he was having plates, so when he would fall asleep, they would crash and that will wake him up again. Doing something mysterious. I mean, if you have the voices talking to you, that helped me one day. So uncomfortable clothes. Cold shower with clothes. I always wanted to do that, but I didn't do it yet. Yeah, and for me, yoga, running, and jumping the rope was always good for me. I did a lot of sport in that time. So one time, I mean, I told all my friends who helped me to stay awake to tell me, do yoga. Like that was one of the good things. And one time I had a kind of conscious shift, and I was completely confused where I am, what I'm doing, and I was in a kind of dream. Like I had the feeling it's kind of sleepwalking, only that I remember what I was thinking in that time, and I was in a kind of story that people want to come to get the gold in my flat, and I wanted my friends to help me, but I was only talking to them like well. There was no communication. They I told them, like, they always said to me, do yoga, yeah. And I was like, what has yoga to do with the gold, you know? And it was a big mystery for me until I got normal again, and then I was like, yeah, yoga, I'm doing Uberman, okay, good. So for me that always helped me to get awake again. So my challenges, I mean, everyone has different challenges if they're doing that. For me, I mean, traveling will also get a little bit different. I mean, it depends on how you do it normally, but I mean, normally it's no problem, you sleep on the couch of someone, but now I always start to ask the people, hey, you have a room where I can be active and put on the light at night, or and also to plan your naps in the daytime if you're in another country or if you're visiting somewhere. It's also like, again, you have to ask everyone, can I nap here and can I nap there? And I mean, if you have a car, it's more easy. Another big challenge for me is, like, normally I stay in laying position to remember my dreams. So I have the habit to, if I wake up, I stay in this position to remember my dream. But there it's very dangerous to do that, because you will fall asleep again. So that was for me a big challenge to change this habit. Yeah, to schedule my life. Yeah, and educate my friends about my new habits. So I mean, you know, normally when you meet friends and say, oh, can we meet 1 hour later? And I said, no, because, you know, I need half an hour to go to your place, and if we meet 1 hour later, then it's interfering again with my nap. So unless I can nap at your place, so it's, I mean, after a while, some friends, they knew my nap time, so, and it was no problem anymore. They knew when to reach me and when not. I mean, it's only 20 minutes. And yeah, not to show up half an hour before, unless they can wait in the kitchen because I'm napping in the living room. So yeah, and to find supporting work and friends. So some people doesn't understand it, so it's very strange for some people to do that. How I noticed that I was adapting, I could hear slow music.